So, Dr. Aronstein, you talked a little bit about your framework and what works for you, and I understand that you've conducted some action research around the idea that leaders go through milestones or gateways on their leadership journey, and I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about those, what those milestones are, what the research indicates, and also how you'll be using this information in the program for the aspiring leaders.
Very good. Well, thank you for bringing that up. Over the last 10 years or so, I have worked with aspiring leaders here on Long Island, probably well over 100 of them. And what I began to find, and I've always had them keep journals and to provide me with those journals on an ongoing basis. What I began to find was, as I read the journals, is that many of them, even though they didn't know one another and they didn't work with one another, seemed to be reflecting about, writing about, thinking about the same things in the same period of time. And I began to be really curious about that. And so as time went on, I continued reading the journals with, keeping an eye out for those commonalities of reflections that they had. And I began to pull out of those what I called milestones for leadership development.
Interesting, Larry. I'm working with a private sector group that has done exactly the same thing. And since I know some of your milestones that we've chatted about, it was surprising to me that many of those were very, very similar. So although this certainly is focused on the school world and the school population, this seems to be almost commonplace in leadership in general.
Yeah, I find it interesting that for decades we talk about leadership development, and somehow the word development is overlooked. And we talk about early childhood and even being middle-aged, as developmental processes, and we talk about milestones. So when I began to think about these common experiences and common reflections, it occurred to me that there is a developmental process in leadership. So it doesn't surprise me that leaders in the business sector, in the government sector, are going through those same processes.
And is it fair to say, Dr. Aronstein, that you will be discussing what those milestones are in the program?
Not only will we be discussing them, I have 3 different phases. I've actually identified half a dozen milestones for each of the 3 phases. We'll be distributing those, using them as an instrument to take a look at oneself and one's own self-development. So I kind of use it as a self-survey instrument. But I've also developed simulations which really get at, in very vivid and graphic ways, how these things play out in the real world. And these in fact are the secrets in the seminar that we're going to be doing. This is the kind of stuff that you never get in graduate courses, and unfortunately most folks learn on the job, and they learn it the hard way by making mistakes. And so what I really have devoted myself to, because I've made every mistake in the book personally, but I'm trying to save developing leaders from making those same mistakes as a result of the kind of teaching that we're going to be doing in these seminars.
You know, Larry, I heard a great line the other day. It said that in the leadership world, good judgment comes from bad experiences, and that bad experiences comes from bad judgment. And I just thought that was pretty funny, because I can see myself doing that. Can't you see yourself in that same place?
I still do.
At the same time, Jennifer, I'd like to say that, JLC works on 3 leadership capabilities: aspiration, systems, and conversation. And when we think about aspirational leadership, what Larry is going to bring forward is the personal mastery side of that. Where are you? What experiences or milestones have you bumped into already? Because some of us probably have. And what shall we expect in the future? So in a sense, what we're really going to do is establish, from a personal mastery and shared vision point of view, what it is I aspire to and where am I along my journey. So I think the nice blending of the 3 leadership capabilities that JLC works on with Larry's milestones is just a wonderful, wonderful program.
Yeah, it's a very interesting blend. I tease Ray. I've worked with Ray for the better part of the last 7-8 years, and I tease him that he's invented his own language, his own vocabulary, and I actually speak that language and understand that vocabulary as many others do at this point. But many of the milestones and a great deal of the thinking that I have done really supplements and complements what Ray is all about, and it teaches these lessons in a little different way, and that's why I'm really excited about our collaboration, because I think we bring all of those elements together in a very cohesive way.
Neat. I'm looking forward to it too, Larry.
It sounds like what the both of you have spoken about is that you cover some of the gaps that are missing in the graduate programs. There's a lot of theory in the graduate programs, but combined, you guys have a tremendous amount of experience, and you're bringing forth what sounds like adult learning theories and learning organization principles, combined with what is now being deemed this new language of conversational principles or conversational leadership, as it were, to create a really comprehensive way for leaders to think about their leadership style.
I think that's a really good summary, and our seminar series, we talk about common sense leadership, and that's the important aspect that oftentimes is missing with regard to graduate programs, because the participants just don't see the common sense. And I think that's what's going to grow out of the work that Ray and I are going to do. People are going to walk away from this and say to themselves, this makes a lot of sense, it's common sense, and I think that their approach to leadership will be changed forever as a result of this powerful experience.